Hello Collision fans to Under the Scaroscope, and today we're talking about Guillermo del Toro's 2013 haunting ghost story, Mama. This is an interesting case because this is a movie that has, on one hand, a lot of things in common with movies like Darkness Falls and Dead Silence, but on the other hand it's done in quite a unique fashion. It opens up, interestingly enough, on a stock market crash, and one of the businessmen involved in this, who's lost absolutely everything, for reasons that aren't really explained, he ends up shooting his wife, but that's off screen, so yeah. While fleeing the authorities, there's a car crash. The guy leads his two little girls to a cabin in the woods, and he's about to, obviously, take them out as well to spare them the suffering of having to live knowing of what he's done. But his efforts are intervened by the appearance of a ghostly woman. Then the movie takes a weird turn. It cuts to 5 years later. The brother of the father of the two girls has been looking for them for the last 5 years. We're obviously unsuccessful, until the two people he hired to look for them stumble across the abandoned car and then find the cabin. And then the girls. This enters into one of the creepiest aspects of this movie. The girls, in the 5 years, you'd expect them to be dead, but no. They've devolved into, I don't know, animals in a sort of sense. Being only 3 and 1 when this occurred, I mean, they've never had any real human contact. They've never learned to speak or anything like that. So basically, they walk on all fours, they just growl. It's actually quite disturbing to see. So in order to cut a long story short, the girls are taken back where they're attempting to be introduced back into society. Their uncle adopts them. They're put into psychological assessment by this psychiatrist who has a few hidden agendas of his own. They're living in this house now, and things are slowly progressing. But then, as you would expect, Mama, who's not very happy about having her little girls taken away from her, comes into the house and the haunting begins. Pros of the movie, there are quite a few, to be honest. It's, like I mentioned, it's quite an interestingly styled film. Well, right off the case, there's a great deal of character development, particularly with the main character, who is, rather ironically, just the girlfriend of the uncle. She's introduced first as sort of just this drifter of life. She's in a rock band. She doesn't really care too much. She's really hesitant about letting the girls into her life. But as the movie progresses, she obviously becomes a lot warmer, and yeah, she's quite a good character to follow. Another really good aspect about the film is the style in which Mama is portrayed. Now, as I mentioned, it's taken very much in the style of films like Darkness Falls, where we don't get to see too much of Mama herself, outside of a few shadows and eyes through corridors and things like that. But the style in which it's done is quite interesting. Because, well, for instance, in this one scene, we see the youngest of the two girls sort of playing tug-of-war with an off-screen character, like with a towel. And this is on one half of the screen. On the other half of the screen, we can see the other characters, the only other people that are in the house, interacting with each other in the background. So we know straight away, holy crap. She's playing tug-of-war with a ghost. That's scary. On the negative side, it's actually quite ironic because as I gave good points to the character development of the girlfriend, I'm going to have to give bad points to the character development of Mama herself. I mean, a lot of these ghostly femme fatale stories, I mean, again, let's take Darkness Falls for instance, we're given a lot of information about the ghost herself, like what her life was like, so we can sort of see her motives in this case. While this does occur in Mama, it's a lot more fractured throughout like a large portion of the film and in a lot of conflicting areas, so it's quite hard to follow, and a lot of it is still left rather unexplained by the end of the film, which is ironically another confusing part of the film because the end was, I don't really know what it was. I won't give it away obviously, but what I will say, when it comes to Mama enacting her final plan, all I could think of while I was watching this was, you had 5 years to do this. You had 5 years to put this plan into action. Why did you wait until now when the girl's emotions are obviously fractured between you and this new family, her uncle and the girlfriend, when they're just going to start struggling? It just didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. So that's all we have time for on Under the Scaroscope. Check out my channel, Splat in the Hat 1, or check out some of the other channels at Collision. And thanks very much for joining me, and we'll see you next time.